Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jonathan. Now, I don't own many dedicated pocket folding knives. I tend to focus on multi-tools and multifunctional knives such as the Victorinox range. However, in this case I've made an exception because I believe this might just be the perfect UK legal pocket folder. This is the Heinnie Haynes exclusive version of the Spyderco UKPK.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So the reason I don't own many dedicated pocket folders is because the ones I would really want to own tend to be lock-in knives. And as you probably already know, lock-in knives are not legal to carry in the UK and many other countries around the world. So it really limits your choice. Not only that, there's a reason why most of the quality knives have lock-in blades, and that is because they are generally safer. And I didn't really want to amass a collection of knives that were illegal to carry in the UK or were not as safe to use as they could be. However, this one is special because this is not a lock-in knife. It has a slip joint mechanism, but it's really good and it really holds firm. And the way the ergonomics work is actually really safe to use as well. And that makes it fairly unique in itself. Let's have a closer look at it. As you can see, it has the Spyderco signature hole, which I really like as part of the design. It is quite wide across the maximum width. Let's just have a quick look at that. We're talking about something like 38 millimeters and lengthwise 102 millimeters, something like that. In terms of weight, we're talking 65 grams. You can't flick this open, or at least I can't, with the middle finger, but it does lend itself to single hand opening, which I think is a really important feature. And it opens really nicely. And the first thing you notice is how well it sits in the hand. I've got a full 4-finger grip here, and it just feels great. These are G10 scales with some texture, and they're really grippy. There's no flex there at all, and there's no liners in here to give it strength, and it's not needed. And I have seen some examples of the fiber reinforced nylon handle versions that do flex a little bit, and they are lighter weight. This is a little bit heavier, but having said that, it just feels really strong. You'll notice on opening you've got a half stop there, and that has quite a bit of resistance, and that's a safety feature. And then you get a very clear feel as it locks into the detent. There's no visible sign of movement in this back spring, which you'll see on a lot of slip joint knives, and that is because underneath here this back spring splits into like a tuning fork shape, and it's the bottom half of the tuning fork that actually flexes and locks into the detent. And it locks in really firmly. It requires quite a bit of effort to move it back, and then you get the half stop, and that requires quite a bit of effort as well. In terms of handling and safety, you put your finger here in this finger choil, which has got some jimping for extra grip, and you put your thumb here on this thumb ramp, which also has some jimping, and you feel like you've got a really solid grip on there as you choke down on that, and that gives you a really great level of control, and it just feels really part of your hand. And the whole worry with a knife that doesn't have a locking mechanism is that it can fold back onto your fingers and do some real damage, but that isn't the case with this, because if it starts to move and comes out of the detent, it cannot go anywhere because of your finger in that finger choil. You just can't get it past that point. So even if it does break away from the detent, say you've got it stuck in a bit of wood and you're pulling it out and it starts to fold back on itself, your finger here stops it moving. You get a real sense of security, and you don't feel like you're missing the lock at all here. And that's what I would want with a knife. I wouldn't want to feel it was compromised because it was designed for the UK market. The leaf-shaped blade I really like and would be my preference. It's got that point which you can control really nicely in the hand. It's got a full flat grind, which again would be my preference. And the steel here is S30V. A lot of people really rate S30V, but there's a lot of people who have their own preference. Some people like a knife that can sharpen more easily. Some people would prefer S110V because of the better edge retention. But for me, this kind of sits in the middle, and I really like that. You'll notice there's no Spyderco logo on the handle. I like that kind of more minimal branding. You've obviously got the laser etching on the blade to show it's a Spyderco, and you've also got the H for Heinnie Haynes to show that this is a collaboration with them, and then you've got reference to the steel. You can close it single-handedly. It requires a little bit more effort than a lock-in version of a knife like this. The way it works for me is you push it with your thumb to break away from the detent, and then you need to apply a little bit more pressure than normal to get past the half stop, but you can do it. If you're quite slow, then you end up doing that. If you haven't got any momentum, it's hard to push it past that, but the safest way is probably to do that. So I would probably, unless I needed to use it single-handedly, I would generally do that. It has the wire deep carry pocket clip, and I really like this. Again, it's a signature of Spyderco. Some people talk about it bending in heavy use, but I just find it's really nice to use. It can be moved to this side, and obviously with this hole here, it can be used left-handed or right-handed. It's also got torque screws, so you can take it apart for maintenance if that's what you want to do. And as you would expect, it is really sharp. So a brief bit of history about the UKPK. Spyderco launched this in 2004 in direct response to the rules in the UK banning lock-in knives, hence UKPK, UK penknife. And interestingly enough, the original one was S30V steel and G10, which is what this is. And then a lightweight version came out which used fibre reinforced nylon handles and changed the steel type to CTS BD1, which is a softer steel. And that's been in Spyderco's range for some time, and there's been a couple of other versions along the way. Heinnie Haynes first produced this version exclusive to them in collaboration with Spyderco in 2019. And it sold out straight away. And then it's been 2 years since then, and in August they released a second batch. Now I'd put my name down on an email list to be notified if they ever produced another one, and I got that email when I was on holiday in August, and I just went ahead and ordered it. And I'm glad I did, because it sold out within a couple of days. Having got it in the hand, you can see why. It is such a great combination of UK legal, but not at the expense of safety. The way you hold it means it won't fold back on your fingers with this really great slip joint mechanism. And the G10 is just perfect, I think, for a handle like this with this texture. I really like the colour, which is unique as well. I like the leaf-shaped blade, and I like the deep carry wireframe clip as well. So everything considered, it's just a great version of this knife. You can see here that it's made in Golden in Colorado in the USA, and just to be absolutely clear, it also mentions Earth, so you know it's been made on planet Earth. So I really like the fact that it's completely made in the USA, and what a great job they've done with this, I would say. So yeah, it won't be an EDC carry for me because there's still a lot of sensitivity to knife carry in the UK, and if I brought this out to chop up an apple in the office, I think it might raise a few eyebrows. That's not such a bad thing. It allows me to keep it in good condition, and I'm pretty sure this one will hold its value. Let me know if you know of anything out there that you think can beat this when you consider the UK restrictions. I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Oh, and finally, in terms of price, this in the UK was £89. That includes 20% sales tax, which is what we have in the UK, and I honestly don't think that is bad when you consider the features and the quality and the exclusive nature of this knife. I think that is a pretty reasonable price. So there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.